You're listening to Weekend Game Plan, brought to you by Mark Azerzer and Hagai Brenner with Vantage Realty. For residential, commercial, and revenue property expertise and results, call or text 514-772-0771.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness.
Weekend Game Plan on TSN 690. Let's get out there.
Weekend Game Plan gets out into the community with Suburban Newspaper sports editor Mark Lidbetter and the Amateur Sports Report.
From the Suburban, you can email him at sports@thesuburban.com for the weekly segment or for the weekly newspaper. Mr. Lidbetter, how are you, sir? And where do we start? Oh, wait, let me handle this. We start with the Minister of Education?
Yes, and just before we get into that, the 2020 Canadian Soccer Championships are taking place, Matthew. So the Impact Toronto and Vancouver are going to face each other over 9 matches in August and September leading up to the Battle of the North. So it is good to go for that.
Right.
Now, this just ain't right because a recent directive from Quebec Minister of Education, Jean-François Roberge, is totally inconsistent with the decisions taken in recent months by the public health authorities and is creating an unprecedented mess in school sports programs. Now, with regards to school sports and sportitude programs, it was stated originally that locally the schools would handle the sports following the rules put out by all the federations. So you figure that's a green light and they're good to go. But not so. But like Football Quebec would lead what the football teams would do, Soccer Quebec would lead what the soccer teams would do, and so on. But the fly in the ointment is that for the past 2 weeks, Minister Roberge has stated that the concept of bubble classes will take precedence over all other activities organized by the schools, and there would be no sports until further notice. So that means a football team with upwards of 40 players, many from different classes, doesn't fit the bubble class criteria. So no football or other sports as long as the format's in effect. But this outraged parents who based the choice of their kids' school on the Sportitude program, and they started an online petition on chance.org. And since Thursday, this morning, there were over 55,000 signatures. Yesterday, there was a protest by students, and there is some hope because now Premier Legault has stated that if things remain stable, sports and arts programs, very important also, will return to school starting after September 14th. So I'm watching this one.
Yeah, it's tough to know what the right call is, that's for sure. All right, elsewhere, some rugby news.
Yeah, this is kind of neat. This is the way Rugby Quebec is dealing with the pandemic because it's sent 19 of its best players to French clubs for the 2021 season. And most will compete in the country's top division, the Elite 1 Feminine, and the others in Elite 2. And it's not a fully professional league, but accommodations and transportations are covered by the clubs. Some of the players get part-time jobs, and others will be allowed to continue their university studies online. And what prompted this move was the cancellation of domestic rugby at the club and collegiate levels. And with the Rugby World Cup 2021 only a year away, it was important to find competitive rugby abroad as a way for players looking to make Team Canada an option that they could keep sharp in their skills. Rugby Quebec's executive director and former national senior women's head coach François Vassier, along with current Quebec provincial and Laval head coach Kevin Rouette, were the keys in setting this up. And 5 clubs will benefit from the Canadian exports. Stade Rennais has the most of the Canadians with 6, including Claude Miranda, Jean-Louis Leontis, Nagala Fuamba, Mfi Fotu, Sabrina Pula, and Jenny Davidson. They're already in France and suiting up for Stade Bordelais are Andriane Valois, Fabiola Forteza, and Justin Pelletier, Mary Thibault, and Alex Tessier. So, these are really high-caliber players, and, future Olympians, future World Cup players. So it's a great chance for them to continue working on their skills.
All right. And finally here, some more football news.
Yeah. Are you ready for some football? Because this is kickoff weekend for the start of football, and a little later than usual, but good to go. Last night, the St. Laurent Spartans traveled to Keith Ewenson Stadium in LaSalle to face the Warriors. But today there's a trio of games on this wonderful rainy Saturday, which is great football weather. As a great rivalry hits the field at 2 p.m. to start the day, as the Lakeshore Cougars take on the North Shore Lions, and that'll open the campaign on the turf of George Springate Park in Pierrefonds. That's one I'll be at. 4 p.m., the St. Leonard Cougars will try to best the St. Lazare Stallions out at Westwood High School in St. Lazare. And closing out the day is going to be Greenfield Park Packers and the Chateauguay Raiders with a 7:30 meeting at Chateaugay's Parc Le Berge. So the ball is in the air and we're good to go.
Sports@thesuburban.com is the email address to reach Mark for this weekly segment or for the weekly newspaper. Mark, where were we, I guess in the rain, are you going to be bringing out the umbrella somewhere today?
Yeah, the umbrella will be up. Hopefully there'll be a tent over the scorekeeper I can sort of huddle under, socially distance, of course. Mm-hmm. And looking forward to seeing some football because, like I said, it's a little bit later start.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much, Mark.
Take care, guys. Have a great week. Stay dry today.
All right, it's Weekend Game Plan on TSN 690. Hour number 2 upcoming ahead of Denberk Reed on NBA playoffs and athlete activism. Up next, it's Habs Breakfast. Pete Jensen of NHL.com joins us. We'll talk about the resumption of the NHL playoffs.